one of the reasons why it's so nice working on these vehicles and building them is that it is very obvious to me that Toyota, when they develop these vehicles, they know that a lot of people that use them are going to be using them for various tasks, which means accessorizing, adding accessories, adding things that take power. So there's not one of these. There are two of them. There's another one on the other side. It's not exactly the same. It's very similar on the other side. And down here, they've already supplied grommets ready prepared for me to be able to just snip the end off and run a cable through. I don't have to drill into the firewall. And that is the layout. So what I've started doing is planning the electrics. There's a lot of planning to do. So I've written on my board what I have to do. I find listing it a big help. I'm Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and travelling to the remotest parts of the world. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join the Patreon family now. So here I've got the roof console, the center console, the dashboard, and the dashboard to the right of the steering wheel. I've got the items being powered via the Egon DC hub with both their 25 amp connectors and the 60 plus amp connectors, and also ignition power. Ignition power means that the power will come from the car's own battery switched through that power box I've just shown you. When I've got to think ahead, I'm thinking, okay, I'm driving along, we're going to be in camp in an hour's time, half an hour's time. Maybe it's a good time to turn on the water boiler now, and I can just do it and not have to go to the back. Also, another thing I had in my previous Troopcarrier that I'm not going to fit with this one is I had two switches for the compressor, both one on the dashboard and one at the back. I hardly ever used the one at the back because my air pump system is actually going to be accessible and usable without having to open any doors or anything. I will literally going to be able to access it from outside of the vehicle, everything. So I'm going to have one switch in the dashboard, but I'm also going to have it on the window side of the steering wheel, so that if I am working on it and need to turn it on, I don't need to reach inside the car to turn it on and off. I can just go to the dash and it's right there. So I have been out and I got that. A 6-core plus a ground. The idea behind multi-core cable is that I actually want one cable run. You actually have to think ahead. So when I'm wiring up the vehicle, I'm thinking and I'm making a list. What do I need? But what happens in a year's time when I think, I'm going to add something? Then I have to run another cable, find its routing and everything like that. Real pain. So I'm going to run all the cables I think I'll need for the lifetime of the vehicle. One cable run, lots of cables, and then I can connect them as I need them. The same principle goes with the fusing system in the vehicle itself. That's why I use the Egon DC hub, because the whole idea is everything is wired up once. When you want to add something, you just run a cable to the center and everything, it's fused. Everything is done for you except for the one cable to the accessory that you need. I am given stuff quite often, and Hella came to the party like they did with the Dream Tourer. They said to me, hey, would you like some of our products? I tried some out and I'm sticking with some of them. I also got some for the Range Rover. So start with these. These actually are for the Range Rover to replace the headlamps. If I'm going to be driving it around, I need to improve the headlamps, but I don't want to fit anything extra to it. I want to keep it absolutely original, but I need to do something about the headlamps to make them good. So that's that and that for the Range Rover. And also a set of hooters, because the hooters don't work. So I've got to replace the hooters. From the Dream Tourer, I learned that these, the Rock Loom 380s, these are epically good. I mean, really, I've never had lights like it on a car, even remotely close to it, and any vehicle I've ever owned. So I thought I would go for the same again. They are small, compact. They don't, you know, they are as bright and as effective as lights, well over twice the size, and they're beautifully made, really built. So I'm very chuffed about having a set of those on the front, because I also think they look good on the 70 series. I bought two of these, was given two of these, asked for two of these. These are for flood lamps, working lamps, and they will be probably two at the back, probably both sides at the back. They are incredibly light, they're plastic, but they're amazingly robust. And in fact, I had these on the Dream Tourer on the side, and they got smacked with some very big branches and survived. I like these a lot. So that's actually probably the best working flood I've actually yet found. Very pleased with those. So they've sent me two of those. That's multi-core cable that I got from Perth Pro. I've visited there many times, as you know, and they gave me some, I actually got this is actually some of their offcuts, because I actually need only quite short lengths of it. So I bought that lot. And these, now they've sent me two sets, and I don't know why. I didn't ask for two sets. These are day running lights, and basically they're on during the day and off at night, and they are, as I say, day visibility lights. And on our last trip I was on radio comms with the guys around me, and I said to them, how visible am I? And they all agreed that it was very good at very long range, because that's what this is all about, making yourself visible in the hot heat haze. And that to me is amazing, because I normally just run with my headlamps lamps on. These are far more effective than headlamps, because they're designed specifically for daytime use. That's at the moment the sum total of the lighting for the Troopcarrier, except I've got something inside that I've got an idea about. I've got this is an interior light, it's a marine light, it's also a Hella product. It's also red and white and different brightnesses, but I don't know if I'm going to use this inside. I've got another idea, completely thinking out of the box idea about lighting inside. So I got these, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, because I'm going to play with some other ideas. The other part of the electrical installation that I have to mention is it all gets wired to the Egon DC hub. The point of this, for those of you who don't know, is that the electrical cabling from the charger, start battery, auxiliary battery, all the lights, all the accessories, absolutely everything, including the bus bar, is built into one single unit.
This should look familiar to you. You have your battery positive stud, your battery negative stud, your main power distribution for a compressor, two high amp outputs, a DC-DC charger, and a fuse box. From here you go to your secondary power distribution, where you got all your little fuses. For this you need a bus bar, which needs to join up to your negative junction stud. And then you got the charge cable coming from your start battery. And you got solar, which needs to connect to the DC-DC charger solar input. And then the ground needs to connect to the ground junction stud as well. A whole lot of connections. To lay out, mount and connect a system in the traditional way will take a skilled tradie about 8 hours and roughly 50 different components. Now, here we got one component. All we need to do is screw these 4 cables in here, screw the start battery connection in here, we screw the solar connection in here, and then we connect the secondary battery there. We're done. That will take about 2 hours.
And I can run heavy stuff like big compressor through here, all my fridges, all my lights, my solar system through here, everything in one place. And the nice part about that is that it has built-in diagnostics. If one of the fuse blows, a little light, tiny little LED glows on the hub, telling you that you've got a closed circuit. In other words, you've got something plugged into it, but the current can't pass through that point, and so that light comes on. So if you have a failure of something inside the car, the immediate thing is to go to a fuse box, and check all the fuses. Here you go to this fuse box and you glance at it and you'll know immediately if one of the fuses has blown. And the point about it also is that it speeds up the installation significantly. Time now for an experiment. I want to establish what inverter I need to buy and how big do I need it. Now here's the thing. You have to, and this is what I would advise anybody to do. Work out what your maximum current draw is going to be and then work from there. So how big, I have to ask the question, what will I need to run from my inverter that will draw the most amount of current? Plug in the inverter and test and make sure it can do that. That's what I'm about to do now. I have got two inverters that I have in mind. The first one I actually have is bolted to the wall of my workshop. It runs a lot of my tools, a lot of the lights, and it's perfectly functional. There you go, that's on. And if I look here, that should come on any second. There you go, that's on, which tells me I've got current to that extension. And I cannot think at any time during my camping that I will need more current at any one time than running my coffee machine together with my little water boiler, milk boiler. So I'm going to run both of those at the same time on that inverter and see if it can handle it. Yes, I have looked at the bottom of this. This says 1.3 kilowatts to run this, and this says 400 watts to run that. So we're talking 1.7 kilowatts, and that's a 2 kilowatt inverter. It should handle it with ease. Can you hear the noise from the fan of the inverter? That's good. Okay. Now I'm lucky to be able to have done that because I had a product that I could test. But I have noticed that some will boast a wattage output and not quite meet it. So that's great. However, I have not yet made up my mind. And the reason is this. At last, the first opportunity to go camping with the new Troopcarrier. The camping setup I've got in here is pretty basic. I did say it was basic. The point of this little trip is to get together with Rob from ProCamp Solutions and Heine Clymer from Kleiner Automotive, so we can decide on what electrical bits and pieces we will be fitting into the Troop. But what really interests me about this is the idea of induction cooking. Now, do I want to do induction cooking? I don't know, but what I do want to do with induction cooking is experiment with it. And we're going to start that experiment right now. Thank you so much for watching. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join our Patreon family now.